Hi, hello everyone. I'm Rajesh Goda, part of Dell Technology from data protection portfolio based in Singapore. And I am working on this for almost 20 years. My whole experience of 20 plus years is on data protections. So today I'm going to cover data protections dedupe storage, and that is data domain. So we go through that. So there are two technology, that is a two patented technology with data domain. One is called CECL architecture and another is called DIA. So I'm going to present to you CECL and DIA. So in the data domain, in the data protections, the biggest challenge for the backup team, either operation or architect team, is how to transfer terabytes and petabytes of data on the cheap storage day over day. Try to understand, when in the production storage, we have a huge amount of data, and then as per the compliance, we need to protect the data for operational recovery, for disaster recovery, and now we have a cyber recovery. But the challenge is how to transfer those back data over the LAN or SAN or FC in terabytes and petabytes on every day basis to three compliance requirement: operational recovery, disaster recovery, and cyber recovery. And then we need to make multiple copies. We need to have an on-site, we need to have a disaster site, we need to have a vault site, and then there is a multi-cloud site. So we need to have a multiple copies. So even one person raise, say we have 100 terabytes and one person raise has been happened, say another 1 terabyte is added. Now that 100 terabytes we already designed and backing up, and now we have an additional load of 1 terabyte every day, and that has to transfer to 3 copies or even 4 copies. And finally, maybe some request comes that I need some tape technology also. So just imagine that 1 terabyte is going to become 4 to 5 terabytes per day. And then again, you need to calculate per month, per week, per year. So there may be around 30-40 copies of all those backup data that we need to protect it. So it is not like we are just protecting 100 terabyte. It is 100 terabytes times number of copies, and then the number of locations. So that 100 terabytes may become like 30 times, say every day 30 daily copy. So 100 times 4 copies. So 1.2 petabyte. So 100 terabytes over the time in the backup will become 1.2 petabyte. It is a huge amount of data. So we need something better dedupe and compression technology. So in this session, I'm going to explain you that how we can handle that huge amount of requirement. It's not a huge amount of data. Actually, it's a huge amount of data to back up every day on multiple locations. So how we can handle that? Let's go through that. So first we need to understand what is a compression technology. So you know MP3, MP4. In the past, we have a record player and then the CD player, then the DVD player. In the past, the format of the music was fully uncompressed, and that hardly 4 or 5 songs can be saved on the CDs or DVD. And now with the MP3 and MP4, we can even now stream the music, thousands of songs, and then now from OTT platform, thousands of hundreds and thousands of telecast is happening over the Wi-Fi. You see that the MP3, MP4, and next generations of all this technology has changed the whole entertainment industries. And then we need to understand that normally we use the compression technology. There is a WinZip, ZZips, GunZips, LZ, etc. There are a lot of compression technology that is becoming de facto standard, that whenever there is a transfer is happen, or even when the storage is happen, we always do a compression storage. And then if these all technologies are there, then we need something similar for backup and recovery, so that we are transferring same amount of data, say 100 terabytes, and the change rate is only 3%. So the data is changing only 3 terabytes. And even if you do incremental backup with the compressions, the whole files we need to back it up. Basically, it's not the changes in the file we are backing up. We are backing up the whole file, because even someone touched the file, the whole file in the incremental backup is going to back up. Sorry, Dean, sorry. And then again, we need to keep those all incremental or full backup. into the multiple locations again and again. So it is going to be huge amount of data. So example here is given H2O water. And if we have a proper atomic level deduplication, then we need to protect only two atom H and O. And then the algorithm that how this two atom can be combined and merged to become water. So just you say that I have a two atoms times I need 100 liters, then on press of a button, you get 100 liters. And that is at atomic level deduplication or the atomic level of isolation. So in the digital world, we have a 1 and 0. So in theory, if we say 1 and 0 and with all the algorithm, we can have a whole data backed up. Everything is being backed up, but practically it's not possible because to reach to the atomic level, we need a huge amount of energy. In the same way, to have a digital 1 and 0, and then all the algorithm is ultimately not feasible. It is going to cost us a lot. So what is alternative way that we can do proper deduplications and compressions at the changes level, not at the file level, but at the segment level, at the block level. Let's try to understand some more deduplication basic. So without deduplication, say 100 terabyte is 100 terabyte. With the little compressions, LZ or ZZ, whatever is feasible based on the operating system, we normally get 50% deduplication. So 100 terabytes become 50 terabyte. And then again, if we do the single instance archiving storage, so that if there is a lot of home directories are there or a lot of duplicates files are there. So based on the metadata, if we isolate, and then we say try to reduce that requirement of multiple duplicate files, then maybe after removing the duplications and then you only backing up unique files with the compressions, we can have easily almost more than 70% reduction. So that's around 33 terabyte. Again, the next level of deduplication and compression, and that is called a fixed block deduplication technology, where the file is being cut into the fixed block size and only the changes of that block is being backed up, where we see almost 75% deduplication. So that is 100 terabytes in the backup will become 25 terabytes. And then the next level where the variable segments the block, so that we can identify that exactly which locations of the file is being changed. And then that segment of the file is only going to backed up, where we get almost 95% deduplication. So if we combine the segmentation process with the compressions, we will get almost 95 to 98% of deduplication. We are going to truly protecting only changes of the file and not it is beyond incremental level. So we understand how to have a segment level identification of the changes and then backing up only those segments. So here is a small output of a split command, and then there are a lot of different types of splits are available, FS split or even WinZip split. So those are the program which can cut your file into the small segment. If you see that there is a home.tar.bz2 file is being there, and that split will going to use that file, and then the fixed size of block 10 MB file. And then when the split will output, you will see that the file is being cut into the home.tar.bz2 part A, part B, part C, part D. So all the whole file is being cut into 10 MB and then the rest of 7.4 MB file. So you see that is a fixed block segmentations, and then it will able to cut the file, large files into the multiple part. WinZip also do the same thing. There is a 7 split, there is a FS split. There are a lot of commands are available to split the file. Now after a lot of some PhD students, and then they did a lot of research, and then they try to split the files in the variable on the different fixed and variable size. So when they found that if we have a variable size between 4 kilobytes to 8 to 16 kilobytes, we will see maximum amount of deduplication with the minimum resources. Because when you split the file, you need to have a lot of CPU power, and then you need a memory, and a lot of IO is also going to happen. But then how we can do this and while doing the backup, because backup is not only we need to finish a huge amount of data backup, but we need to finish within the backup window. So we have a shortest time. So then how we can have identifications of the block where the changes has happened with the minimum resources in the fastest backup time. So that's the identified that when we go with the variable block, we will find almost average of around 70% of identification successfully. So what exactly this deduplication is that? So it's an example, there is a 128 kilobyte whole file is there, and then after compression, say 50%, it becomes 64 kilobytes. And then there is a small changes that happen in the middle. Now, when you back up next time, the file is being changed, the whole file has to back it up, so that again it's going to compress and store it. So again it's going to back up 64 kilobytes. So if you see that finally the 256 kilobyte file, if you do backup, you need to do at least 128 kilobytes, because 2 times is going to back up. Now if we go with the segmentations, for example, we have 16 segments of 8 kilobytes, and then we compress. So again, it is the same, 16 times 4, 64 kilobytes. And then again, if there is a small changes happen between there is a 2 segment. So practically there is only 2 segments is being changed. So if we identify those 2 segments of 16 kilobytes, then we need to back up only those 2 segments that become after compressions. We can back it up. So if you see that this 256 become 72 kilobytes only. So segmentation is very, very important. And then there are fixed size segmentations and variable size segmentations. So here is one easy to understand this example. So example, there is a snow is the time, that whole file we need to segment. So if we go with the fixed block segmentations of four segments of this 4 kilobytes. So if you see that first line without any modification, now is the time. So now is the time. I need to back up this 4. And then next time when someone is appended in the front, snow is the time. Again, when we cut the file into the 4 kilobytes, the whole thing is being shifted, and then every segment is being changed. So if you append the file from the front, you will see that you won't get much deduplication because the whole segment value is being changed. So again, you need to back up that almost whole segment with the compression benefit. But if you have a variable, say example, you have an intelligent like AI intelligent with the dictionary, word dictionary. So it understands each word. So in the first time, it has backed up now is the time. Now is the time. So that it is backed up for word. In the next time, when the snow is changed, snow, but then is the time is already backed up. So next time it will back up only the snow. So that is most important, that we should have a variable block segmentations with the intelligence to understand that exactly where to cut the segment, where to cut the file between 8 to 12 kilobytes. Here's another example. I want to go home. In the middle, if someone is appended and change the word from go to head, if you say that whatever is being changed, after that the whole segment is being shifted. So that you need to have a, sorry, here is the one, I want to go home, fixed block, and then go is being replaced by head, then the 3 blocks is being changed. So you need to have a 3 object to back up. But in the variable block with the AI intelligence, only 1 block go is replaced by head, so that I need to change and back up only head. So that is how the variable block segmentations can help you. So based on this variable block segmentations, Data Domain founder has come up with the split technology, which has a variable segmentation split with the intelligence. And then that data domain was acquired around 2009 by EMC. And then recently, almost 3-4 years back, Dell also acquired the EMC. So data domain is part of the Dell deduplication storage technology. And then here is a more detailed historical details. If anyone wants to know that how the Dell data domain as it is almost like more than 15 to 17 years old company, very mature technology, and one of the leader in the deduplication compression. So what is a data domain? It is the most efficient deduplication because it goes very small segmentations compared to any other competitor. It's a patented technology. The split algorithm is patented. It is a reliable. When you split and then you will eliminate 95 to 98% of data and you are backing up only 1 or 2% of data. So if even one segment is being corrupted or gone, then you cannot restore your 95% of the data. So in the deduplication, most important is reliability, that we need to have end-to-end verifications on regular basis, fault detections and self-healing. If the faults are supposed to happen every time, but then how to do self-healing? That is most important thing. Data domain is very flexible dedupe storage. It can be used for not in only our backup software, it can be used for any competitor backup software or even as a NAS storage for the deduplication technology and then for the cyber recovery. And we have virtual editions that can be even deployed in the hyperscale public cloud like Amazon, Azure, and Google. And then this can be fantastic dedupe backup storage, replacing the tape technology. Data domain is fully cloud ready for two purposes. One is for long-term retention archiving. So once you back it up to data domain, if you have a compliance requirement for 5 to 7 years, you can archive those dedupe segments directly to public cloud like Amazon S3. And the second thing is you can even deploy the data domain virtual edition in the cloud for your virtual data protections. So all the flexibilities are there in data domain system. Let me take you to exactly what is our CCL architecture, what you understood about the segmentation and compression. So that is called CCL, Stream Informed Segment Layout. And then the second our patented technology is identifications, findings, and self-healing of any corruptions. And that is called DIA, Data Safety and Reliability. This is a performance. So why as you know that when we have segmentations and compressions, we need a huge IOPS. We require huge IOPS and then a lot of resources. And data domain is completely based on CPU centric and the RAM storage. So hold the file and then the segmentations of the files will happen at the RAM and using the CPU power. It is not depend on the storage IOPS. So if you see that CPU performance and then the memory size is becoming double or triple or fourth time increase based on CPU and memory. And that's why compared to this technology, data domain architecture is based on CPU and RAM so that its performance become more faster and faster for petabytes of data to manage, backup, and restore. So this is fantastic. You don't need to worry about the IOPS. You need to just mention that how much performance is needed, and based on that, a controller with the sufficient CPU and RAM will be available to manage whole your workload. Let's go through the CCL architectures, and before that, I will pause for a minute. If any questions related to segmentations and compressions, deduplications, anyone has any questions? No questions? Guys, are you there? Can you say someone hi, hello? Or
yeah, we are understanding. Yeah.
You can, okay. Rama is responded. Thanks, Rama. So everyone just raise your hand. At least I know people are there and my session is not taking you to this to take a nap.
Yes, we understood.
No, we understood, Rajesh.
Okay, perfect. Let's understand more about
it's quite a simple example that you gave, so nothing, no major doubts to ask.
Thank you. So let's understand what exactly is our patented technology for deduplication. So patented technology is stream informed segment layout. And then it's based on summary vector that how to identify the new segments in memory, and then how to have a probability that how to catch that changes from the duplicate, huge amount of duplicate storage. So it is everything will happen at the RAM and the CPU speed. So we go through that exactly how it is doing that. So here is animations. You see that the whole file. So this is a file PLAQU, whatever is there. It is being segmented using our CCL split command, 4 to 12 kilobytes. So there are like say 4 segment is being created. Now, how to know that this segment is unique or not? So for every segment, a fingerprint is generated. Fingerprint is 20 bytes session. Sorry, I forget the name. Whenever you download the software, they give you one identifications key with the software so that you can compare that whatever you downloaded is right or wrong. So that fingerprint is identifications for every segment. Segment is 4 to 12 kilobytes. The fingerprint is a 128 bytes hash segment, and that is a 20 bytes only size. So that is the ID of that segment. And now this ID will be saved into the MySQL database in data domain controller, so that it will compare, it will check is this ID is already there or not. If the ID is already there, it is a duplicate segment. So I don't need to back up again. If ID is a unique ID, then only I need to use those 2 segments to back it up. So what will happen? These 2 segments along with its ID is being compressed and then put into the folder, and that folder is called container. And then that container, when it reaches to the size of 4.5 MB to 5 MB size, it will be saved on the disk. So if you see that there are 5 sections, segmentations, we need to segment this file, then the creating a fingerprint, generating a fingerprint of that, then identifying the unique segment, that is the filtering. Once the filtering is happened, then compress it. After the compressions, write it to the storage in a folder that is called container. So remember, these are the 5 steps: segmentations, fingerprinting, filter, compression, and write. Okay. If you are looking to go for the data domain certifications, these questions normally come at least 1 or 2 questions based on this CCL architecture. So that you just should remember that. So stream informed segment layout is a completely CPU centric technology. It will reduce your excessive disk read and write, uses fingerprint and RAM to identify the segments which are already on the disk. And then it identifies 99% efficiently duplicate segment in line. And then it will scale with the data domain controller when you need a bigger capacity or faster backup window. You can go for higher controller with more CPU and RAM power. So again, data will be written to the NVRAM, then the segmentations will happen. So everything will, now NVRAM is not there, is SSD. So it goes to the SSD and then segmentations will happen. It will create the fingerprint for each segment. There is a 20 byte fingerprint. And then those fingerprints will be compared inside the SQL database, and whatever the unique fingerprints, that will be compressed and saved and put it into the container, which is being written on the disk technology. So if you see that the whole process is in memory. Now, what will be the benefit of this? If you say that you have a Friday full backup of one system, for example, and that one system has a lot of files, and then every files will go through this segmentation process, while the backup, like a networker, will read the data. It will create its own format in the file, and those files will be sent to the data domain CCL architecture, where the 4 to 12 kilobytes will be generated, and then fingerprints will be generated. So on day 1, you say that there is no, say this is a vanilla system and first time we started. So there is no data. So there is nothing to compare, right? So it will just go through the compression technology, and maybe within the operating system file, there will be some deduplications will happen. So day one on Friday, 1 terabytes of backup. So example, you get one half or 1/4, say 50 to 60, 70% of deduplication with the compression. So example, for only operating system, you will get 250 GB of data. On day two, when there's an incremental backup will happen, whatever the changes are happen, those two segments, or there are some couple of segments, say 2 to 5% of your data, say example, 50 GB. After you see that second time, the deduplications will improve. The compression will also need to apply only to limited segments. So you'll see that from 1 terabyte, the backup data become only 5 GB, and assuming it is a 5% change rate. And then every day you will see that 5 GB is added because the changes are there 5%. So based on that, you will see deduplication. And then again on second Friday is already database is fully populated. 1 terabyte after backup, it's going to be like say 18 GB. It is 95 to 98% deduplication. So now if you do the tape backup, you need a space of 2.2 terabyte for 1 week of cycle. And then after the deduplications, example, 95 to 98%, you will need to back up only 288 GB. It will occupy the space of 288 GB. This is for 1 week cycle. Now, if you convert that into the say 4-month cycles and then 1 or 2 weekly copies and whatever is there, maybe this is become 10 terabyte. But 10 terabyte is going to, you don't need a space of 10 terabyte. It's going to occupy 2.5 to 2.8 terabyte. Okay, and this is for one system. Now, if you keep adding more and more systems, you will see more and more benefit of deduplication. The things will become, because within the Windows systems, within the Linux systems, there is a more and more deduplication. Efficiency will improve. Because if you back up one Windows system and if you back up 100 Windows system, you will see more and more benefits of deduplication. So your data size will keep reducing if you keep more and adding more and more backup of similar operating system, similar file systems. Only the challenge will come when you have a database where the changes are very high, or if there is any compression and encryption technology. So we need to understand that how exactly, what are the best practices to back up database so that we get efficient deduplication. This is a one sizing guideline. So say example, you have 100 terabyte data to backup, and then daily copies is a 7 copies, assuming everything is a full backup. Definitely if there is an incremental backup, the size will be less, whatever the change rate that we need to back up. And then the number of copies, weekly backup 5, monthly copy 12. So total we need to back up 24 copies. We need 24 copies of 100 terabyte. So if we go through the tape technology, we need to manage 2400 terabyte without compression. With compression, it's going to be around 1200 terabyte, 50 to 60% deduplication in the tape technology. Say you assume that you will catch it. With the data domain, we normally get 95 to 98%, but for calculations, we took 90% of 2400 terabyte. So that is the 10% we need to back up. So 240 terabyte. If we go with other, say, competitor technology, which says that, okay, our deduplication is less, but we are cheaper, then you see that even 5% cheaper, 85% of, here's the 2400 terabyte, it's become 15% we need to space 360 terabyte. So almost you need a more space of 100 terabyte. It's not only the space of 100 terabyte, the backup window will increase because now it has to transfer 100 terabyte more data. It has to regularly review and check the 100 terabyte additional workload. Then you need to have a DR copy of that additional 100 terabyte. So many factors will come into the picture. And then you see that even little change in the deduplication has a vast effect on the backup storage and operational thing. So without our deduplications, you need a lot of non-efficient deduplications will be there. There is only compression benefits. Small change will become bigger headache to manage in the deduplications, because the number of copies, number of locations, that will increase a lot. With CCL, with the additional more and more operating systems, more and more data, you will see you will ultimately achieve 95 to 98% or even more. Your efficiency will be on CPU and RAM, 99%. You don't need a huge disk IOPS, and then you need a less capacity to manage the data. And then definitely CPU is innovating every 3 to 5 years. Either its capacity is doubled or number of core handling more CPUs. So ultimately you have a benefit of managing large amount of data to backup using dedupe and compression technology. Any questions? No question?
No, Rajesh, you can continue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Before I jump, I just have a question. How many people
Rajesh,
who are
Rajesh,
part of a operation team? Guys, are you
Rajesh,
part of operation people
Yes.
or you are
Rajesh,
architect?
We are part of operation.
And then
Only
you
we are handling projects too. We are handling
infrastructure operations?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So this is storage and backup is a part of your portfolio?
Yeah, we mainly look into storage and backup, Rajesh.
Ah, okay. Okay. What is
We are
your
part of it.
largest data size?
Actually, we use here Tivoli product, Rajesh. So we are working with TSM.
Oh, TSM. TSM is a
Yeah,
forever incremental. That's the one, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So everyone knows about the backup terminology, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rajesh. Yeah.
So whatever I
And-
explain you guys, you got it. What is the difference between the deduplication and normal tape backup?
Yes. Yes. And Rajesh, I have one query. This SASL will work for snapshots as well, because for VM backups, we will normally take snapshot backup.
Yes. So tomorrow when we are going to, because this, whatever I told you, it's independent of any type of data. Whatever data, like in VMware, we give the VMDK file. It's a .vmdk file.
Correct.
Or .pdf file for Acrobat, or .doc files, or any log files, whatever you send. Data domain doesn't care. It is just go and split the file into the small segments of 4 to 12 kilobytes, and then try to get the fingerprints of each files and then compare. If the file is already there, it is not going to rewrite the file, not going to resend the file. So it is independent of data type. It is any type of file, even mainframe file. You have a virtualization Hyper-V file. You have a Red Hat Linux virtualization file. You have Oracle virtualization file. Any file, it doesn't care.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
so
kind
it is
of
independent of file type.
It's kind of disk fragmentation, Rajesh.
That is disk fragmentation is not happening at the when the CCL architecture is there. When it write to the disk, when the container is being written to the disk, then there is maybe some disk fragmentation will happen. But we do every week garbage collection. That I'm going to go through the process after this, so that you will understand that how it is handling the duplicate, because we do 99% efficiently. So 1% also, if it's inefficient, how to make it 100% efficient, how to delete the expired data, and how to do the more cleaning work on the disk, that we are going to talk after
Okay.
this.
Why? Because like in fragmentation, it rearranges the data into the sectors, right?
Yes. I'm going to talk about that.
Okay, fine. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk about the, so whatever I mentioned to you, that is happening at the, this is a data domain example. This is a data domain with a controller and a lot of storage. This is any application server, is Oracle, SQL, or VMware. A lot of things are there. Whatever data is being sent it to here, it will do the segmentations and the fingerprinting to find the unique data, then comparisons, and then write to the container. This process is happening at the data domain level. So this is called target-based deduplication. This is a target where the data is to transfer to the target. and then do the deduplication and storage. Okay. So the benefit is that you don't need a much for storage, but there's a disadvantage that still you need to transfer your terabytes of data to the storage. Okay. And that is called target-based deduplication. Now, data domain has introduced a concept called source-based deduplication, and that is called data domain boost. Boost means source-based deduplication, bandwidth optimization, open storage technology boost. Okay. So what is happening? We have come up with our software that is a CCL architecture, which will do segmentations, and then the identification of the segmentations. Everything will be on the source side itself, and it will send only the unique file to the data domain for containerization. So our segmentations, uniqueness and compressions will happen, everything on the source, and then the compressed segment, unique segment will transfer to the data domain. So if you have a change rate of 2%, means it is transferring only 2% of your data. It's not your terabytes of data. So this is called DD boost. Okay. Backup will be faster because now you don't need to send the whole amount of data. Lower CPU utilizations because you don't need to read the whole data and transfer, because everything will happen in the CPU. Here, if you have a change rate of 2% or 5%, only that much data will be read, segmented, IDs created, compressed, and only the unique data, whatever actually is changed, will transfer to storage. So you don't need a huge bandwidth. In fact, you don't need a backup LAN at all. You need only the normal LAN, because your backup window will reduce, your amount of data to transfer will reduce. So you don't need a dedicated backup LAN. And backup LAN is not good in our cybersecurity environment, because people will, insider will attack mostly from the backup LAN and then push ransom script on all the system from the backup LAN. So we should avoid using a backup LAN, and we should go for the DD boost technology to reduce the backup window and finish the backup very, very fast. Okay, so here is one more explanation. So my file is being segmented, and then the fingerprint is created for every segment. And then it will check with the data domain for 20 bytes that how many.
Rajesh, is there any default compression ratio here? How is it set actually?
So we have with the data domain, we have two type of data domain, virtual and physical. With the virtual, we use the ZZ compressions. That is the most efficient compression technology. Or we can change it to LZ also. If you think that ZZ is consuming a lot of CPU power, you can reduce to LZ in the data domain virtual appliance. For the physical one, we have a ZZ inbuilt with the hardware card, like a tape technology where the hardware card is there to do the decompression at the tape level. The same way here, when the data is being transferred, here the hardware card will do the compression and store it to the container. So we have a ZZ with the hardware card on the target, on the data domain controller.
Okay.
So DD boost will do the segmentations, fingerprinting, and then identifying the unique fingerprint. And then that unique fingerprint either will be compressed at the source, or if there is a data domain with the hardware compression card, the fingerprint unique data will be transferred, and here the compression and writing will happen. Okay, so if you say that you have a 2 to 5% change rate, we are transferring only 2 to 5% of your data to the data domain's storage. And this is called source-based deduplications, and we have given the name as DD boost. So anytime, whenever anyone says that, are you using a DD boost, then you said you need to understand that this is a source-based deduplication. If you are using a VTL, virtual tape library, like in a TSM, maybe you need a VTL, because TSM doesn't support DD boost. Only Networker, Avamar is supporting DD boost. So if you say that I'm using TSM, VTL means no deduplication at source. The data will be transferred and then deduplication at target will happen. But whatever you write to data domain is always in the dedupe format. either from the source or at the target. Okay, so TSM also support data domain with the VTL concept with the target based deduplication. But when you go with the networker support DD boost with the source based deduplication. Okay.
So, Rajesh, that means there is no other process, deduplication process will not run in on target end, right? Like in TSM end, there is another process will run for deduplication for VTLs.
No, so TSM deduplication at target, they are not, they are using their own. There are two type of TSM. TSM can use our data domain as a disk-based storage, where the target deduplication will happen, or TSM can use data domain as a VTL over the FC, where the target deduplication will happen. So deduplication will happen in the TSM also, but how you configure? If you say that I want a LAN type of backup, then in TSM you need to configure data domain as a disk backup. In TSM, if you say that I want FC SAN backup, then you need to configure data domain as a VTL backup in TSM. Okay.
Okay. So that means in place of TSM, if we are using networker, so there won't be no an additional process for deduplication on target end, right?
So there is a, here is a, I will show you, wait, your performance, wait, I'll show you the graph. So this is a comparison. When you say that I want target based deduplication like a VTL or non DD boost, you need a backup LAN or you need a 10 Gbps link or something like that. When you go with the DD boost with the source based deduplications, your backup window will reduce and you don't need a huge bandwidth. Now the performance. Now, if you say that I want to go for a non-DD boost, so that when you start the backup, your backup window won't go very high, but backup your window is very high. So you say that you are finishing a backup in 10 hours. So you're continuously 10 hours, your IOPS and CPU will be busy transferring your backup. Okay. When you go with the boost backup, because you are no more transferring 10 terabytes or 10 hours of backup window, you are transferring only the changes. So to identify the changes, CPU spike will come. And then once it identifies the changes, the segmentation happen. And then for transferring the segments, it will go down very fast. So you see that maybe a spike will come and ultimately it will subsidize. So that you see that if customer says that while doing a backup with the source based deduplication, are you going to use my CPU? Yes, but it is going to be just a spike when the start of the backup. After that, it is not going to use your CPU or disk IOPS. But if you say that, okay, I want to go with the tape technology, then you need to remember that it is your system will be busy for the whole backup window, which is maybe 8 to 10 hours. Okay. So this is the difference between the DD boost performance and non-boost performance. Is that your question?
Yes, Rajesh. I got
Okay.
it.
Thank you. So what does, whenever you do the DD boost backup, that is called distributed segment processing. You can offload your data domain because now every system, either VMware or the Oracle or SQL or Exchange, everyone do its own deduplication of the change rate. Say VM is a change rate of 1%. Oracle has a change of rate of 5%. So now everything is being distributed. One system like a media node or a storage node is not doing any deduplication. In fact, with the DD boost technology, there is no need for any storage node or media node because your backup from the source deduplication will happen on the source and it will transfer directly to data domain. So there is no intermediate person is required. There is no need of any media node in the DD boost environment. Okay, everyone will do its own work and send data directly to data domain. Only the changes will be transferred to data domain. This is the most efficient system. It is not going to overload your data domain CPU and RAM because everyone is doing their own changes management, segmentation, and deduplication at source. You get the 50% aggregate throughput improvement. Your CPU requirement on the backup server application host will reduce a lot. You don't need a media server. You don't need a backup LAN. And then all the backup can start together. You don't need to, there is no dependencies of the media node in the middle. Okay. Now about after deduplication, what about the DR? So if you say that I have my application servers and I'm doing a DD boost backup. So I'm transferring only whatever the changes are 2 to 5% over the normal LAN to their domain backup. And then from their domain backups, again, I'm transferring to DR side their domain. So 2 to 5% only changes is transferring. So if you see that you don't need a huge LAN or a backup LAN. And then also for the WAN level replications, you don't need a huge WAN. In fact, you can have a 4 to 5 hours time to finish your backup of the whole environment. And then again, another 2 to 3 hours to replicate the whole backup to the DR site also. So you reduce your network utilizations by 99% based on your change rate. This is a design. There is no need of any media server in the middle. You just need a backup software like a networker who will communicate with all the client and initiate the backup. The deduplication at source, only the changes will transfer to the data domain M tree. M tree is like a NAS path where the data domain, where all the client will write its own backup. And then when the backup finish, or even whatever client's backup is finished, you can replicate that client backup to DR site also. So your backup and replication for the DR can work together also, client by client. You don't need to wait for the whole backup to finish. You can do in parallel replications to the DR site also. Catching up? So that is the end of our deduplication understanding, segmentations, fingerprinting, identifications, compressions of the unique segment and transfer to data domain. And that is called CCL architecture. If it is happening at the source, it is called DD boost, and only the unique segments, which is a change rate of 2 to 5%, will be transferred after compression to data domain. So you don't need a backup LAN. You can reduce your backup window. You don't need your media server, and you can finish your backup very fast. And after that also the replicated, the segment by segment, client by client, data will be replicated to the DR site. So in fact, you can back up, and within 2 to 3 hours, if you can replicate, and then you can restore it in the production site or DR site very quickly. This is a general architecture, and 99% everywhere you will see this architecture with networker and data domain. Remember, you don't need media server or storage node. You need only backup server and data domain. There is only minimum infrastructure, and all the clients with the DD boost technology will back up directly to data domain. Okay. So that's the end. Let's, guys, you have any questions, or we need another 10 to 15 minutes to do reliability and secure understanding of data integrity available architecture. You need a pause?
Maybe a quick
We are
pause of
fine.
2 minutes. Or
No,
again.
Okay, I'll
Rajesh,
stop this
wait,
recording.
hello.
We will
We
share
can-
this
Rajesh.
for the CCL architecture. Okay.
Rajesh, I have one query.
Yes.
Actually, where we need to check this replication status got completed or not?
Sorry. Will you go slowly? Your voice is very low.
No. Where we need to check whether the replication got completed or not?
Replication from the
Yeah.
DR. Okay, network.
Yeah, from DR
networker
end. Yes.
will initiate the that is called cloning procedure in the clone control replication CCR. Networker will tell to the data domain that, okay, do the DR replication on this second data domain. So data
Okay.
domain, the DD boost technology will identify which are the unique segment and those segments will be replicated to the DR data domain. So networker will control your backup. Networker will control also your replications to the DR data domain. If you don't have a networker, and if you say that I want to do data domain to data domain replications, then the data domain directory level, that directory is called M tree, where the backup
Okay.
is written. The whole directory to directory level, forever incremental way, whatever the unique segments will be completely replicated to the DR side. Okay, so it is either backup control or data domain
Or
control.
DD control.
Replication is
Okay.
possible.
Okay. Both ways we can do, right? Both the ways.
Sorry, what is the question?
No, both the ways we can perform, right? This replication.
Yeah. Normally, when the networker is there, you don't need to go for the M tree level. You just go and do it in
Okay.
the networker
Networker
level,
level.
backup software control
Okay.
replication. That is far better
Okay, Rajesh.
because you can go client by client. So my one client finished, networker will initiate the CCR of that client to the second data domain. But in the net data domain, you need to wait for the whole backup to complete, and then you can initiate the whole directory level replication. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I will stop this recording, and then we will come back in 2 minutes. Okay. Hey,
Sure,
are you
Rajesh,
doing
sure.
recording? Who is doing recording? I'm doing recording, right?